how to accomplish your goals and stop comparing and copying others. Hi, this is Wendy Gunn. I'm the founder of Your Home for God, an online coaching brand that helps Christian women to identify and achieve God's unique goals for their lives, to pursue their passions, and to embrace who God made them without neglecting their family or their home and without outsourcing everything. And I want to talk to you today about the fact that God has a plan for you and your life that's different than anyone else's, and how to accomplish your goals and stop comparing and copying others and wanting their lives. So I want to tell you a story about when I was probably in my 30s and 40s, especially. And if this is you, I just want to share this because so many women I see are struggling with this. And I looked around at my friends and I wanted to be like them. I saw this great trait in this person. This one was, doing singing solos, and I had a little bit of musical talent, so I wanted to be up in front singing. And this one had another skill. This one was perfectly organized in her home, so I wanted to do that. And this one was a fabulous cook, and I wanted to do that. This one was this, and this one was that. I was trying to do it all. This one, and into my 40s, I did develop some skills that allowed me to pursue more of these things. But the fact is that I wasn't supposed to do all of those things. When I was basically setting up my standard of righteousness, and you might be doing this too, and that's what I want to warn or caution you about. When we have this list of, okay, I'm going to grind my own wheat berries and make my own bread from scratch, and I'm going to use these essential oils, and I'm going to homeschool my kids, and I'm going to do this and this and this, and I'm going to keep my house perfectly, and I'm going to make all my meals from scratch, and I'm not going to hire anybody to do anything. I'm going to cut my own husband's hair and all my kids' hair, and we're going to write books, and we're going to sing, and we're going to, okay, I could go on and on and on. The point is, then when you set up your day and you check those boxes, or try to, and you say, okay, I'm good. I'm good to go. I checked all those boxes. And you look at what you're doing, and you look at your friend and you go, yep, I'm doing. She's doing that. I'm doing it too. Check. What you have done is set up your own standard of righteousness, and God hates that. Hates that. And you have completely missed what he made you to do and be. And I missed for years what he was trying to teach me. And I was trying to do all these things that were not in his plan. And I was frustrated, and I was discouraged, and I was overwhelmed because I was trying to do all these things that I saw everybody else doing instead of what God had created me to do and be. I want to encourage you to look to God. If you're married, also talk to your husband, and to set goals for your family based on who he created you to be. He created you uniquely. He created your husband uniquely. He created your children, each one uniquely. So many times I see this happen in life, is a family is going along, and they're going along and they seem to be doing great. And God allows some huge trial or tragedy in their life that completely defines who they are from that day on. That may happen to you. It may have happened to you. And we see that and we understand that. But in your life, you might have little trials, little things. You don't realize they're defining you. You don't realize that they're God's way of directing your life. What are your passions? Do you have things that just light you up? You love to do this. I have loved mentoring other women forever. I have loved people from all around the world since I was a little child. I remember sitting on my sofa at home when I was in grade school, looking out the window, watching the exchange student walk by. And I remember that as clearly as if it was yesterday. I have always been interested in people from all over the world. I have always been interested in traveling to and meeting different people. God has put that in me. I have always loved communicating. I love to write. I love to talk, obviously. And God made me that way. Now, there have been many, many years and days when people said you need to talk less. But if God made you to talk, maybe that's something that you need to embrace more. Not that you need to talk all the time. A person who's going to have something to say has to be a good listener. Word to the wise. But you have been created the way that you are. You have natural gifts and talents. I also want to encourage you that you can change. God may use you in the area of your giftedness, or he may use you in the area that you feel is not your thing at all. And you need to be ready and willing to do whatever God wants you to do. Moses is a very good example of someone who did not do this really well. He argued with God about what God wanted him to do. You need the faith to believe that if God calls you to do it, he's going to enable you to do it. Okay? So Moses kept on arguing until God got angry and finally said, fine, I'll send Aaron, your brother. He can speak well. Moses didn't think he could speak well. Are you fighting God on anything? Let me ask you that. Are you fighting God on anything? Give up your whole life to God. Surrender everything. If you have passions, and if you've buried your passions, I want to encourage you to dare to dream again. I want to encourage you that the combination is absolutely essential of daring to dream, but surrendering everything to God. Not all of your dreams you're supposed to do. Just because you have a dream doesn't mean you're supposed to do it. But I encourage you to keep dreaming. When David had a dream to build a house for the Lord, a temple, the prophet said, yes, go for it. That's a wonderful dream. God came back and said, that's not for David to do. I'm going to have his son do that. Now, your children may accomplish your dreams or they may not. That is not something to assume. But David didn't say, oh, well, I'm not supposed to do that and never think about it again. It was a passion of his. So he continued to prepare, and he brought in wealth untold to be able to give to Solomon resources and materials. So Solomon could achieve this goal. And I want to encourage you also that there are seasons in life. This is such a truth that is not talked about. It is not talked about. And I know so many women who think, I can do it all. And I am doing it all. And I can do it all at once. And I can be a wife, a mom, a businesswoman, I can wear all the hats and I can do all the things all at the same time. I'm sorry, you can't. I mean, I really feel like, thunder and lightning just happened. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't do it all to this level, and you aren't necessarily supposed to do it all at the same time. You can do a number of things at the same time, but there are seasons. If you're going to do this really well, you can't also do this. This has to wait, and that's fine. For me, in my life, I had dreams of so many things. I thought of so many endeavors outside the home that I wanted to do when I was at home raising my children. But God called me to be a wife and a mom and a homeschooler. I worked from home when I had small children, and for a year, I was working about 50 plus hours a week from home. I about died. And my poor little child that had their first year during that year, I could not give that child the attention that they deserved. And I changed that path and put that on the shelf for a time. After my kids were grown, I took a year off. Your kids graduate, you graduate. When you graduated, you had to figure out, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? You think that question is only at graduation time, but it's not. All through life, there are times when you have to stop and go, now, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? When I finished homeschooling, I said, Lord, what do you want me to do with the rest of my life? And I took a year to just pray and explore options and think about it. And then I started a blog. And then later, I started another blog and a business, an online business. And then later, I started coaching. I was preparing for that for my whole life. I would not be able to share with you the things that I share now if I had done it back when my 30s and 40s. I would have told you so many different things that I now think you don't need to hear them, and they are wrong. If you'd followed that advice back then, it would have been wrong and you would have been off track. I want to encourage you to embrace God's plan for your life today. Know that if you surrender to Him, if you ask Him for wisdom, He will give it. He'll direct your path when you trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. If you acknowledge Him, He will direct your paths. He promises to give wisdom when you ask, believing. So go to Him and ask and trust Him to show you. And if you're married, He's going to direct through your husband as well. Hard truth, but true. And then just recognize that there are certain jobs that you can do that a whole lot of other people can wear that hat and fill that role. Your role as wife and mom, wife of your husband, well, there's only one person that can fill that role. You. Only you. Mom to your kids, no matter what age they are, only you can fill that role. It is so important that you have priorities in order. And I just want to stop. I have more to say, but in the comments below, share with me what you think your top 3 priorities are. And get my checklists for consistent daily routines, which is the first thing to do in the path that I will lead you on to know how to prioritize God's will for your life. The second thing down the road is learning priorities and learning how to organize, and then get my Mastering Your Goals course. I walk you through and we go through this step by step, and you will know exactly what your priorities are and how to set goals to it and how to achieve them. So that link is click that link in the comments below. I just want to encourage you that your top priority is your relationship with God, first and foremost. Having your own time with the Lord in the Word of God and in prayer every day is absolutely top priority. That's what the checklists for consistent daily routines will help you with. And then I have a product called Prioritizing God's Unique Goals for You bundle. That will be down there too in that link. Click on that link. That will help you to answer questions that will identify who God uniquely created you to be, because your goals, your priorities aren't exactly the same as this friend and this friend and this friend. And I just want to encourage you that if you're trying to plant seeds in the winter and you're in a season of winter, does that work? If you're trying to harvest in winter, does that work? You have to do things in the right season, in the right order. God has a special plan for you, and you need to seek Him for that plan. I have a lot of help for you, and if you want coaching, one-on-one coaching with me to achieve God's unique goals for your life, click on the link to set up a one-on-one free 30-minute session with me, connection call, to see if we're a good fit with one another. And that's your first step on the path of qualifying for coaching. This is Wendy Gunn at Your Home for God.